You're now tuning into the Who and How Club with your host, Eris Dejan.
Hello.
Hey,
Hey.
how's it going?
You cut out for a second. Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. No, I was just saying, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Did I take too long or?
I mean, yeah, dude, time management, okay? Time management.
Yeah, Kailia's been talking to me today about my horrible time management, which I don't think is that horrible, but she has her own opinion and her own perspective on it. And we're
We
kind of,
first started talking about this at 2, okay? 2. It is now
what time is it?
9 o'clock, and we're just starting the podcast. Then we talked 45 minutes ago, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to call you back in a few minutes. Okay, so time management.
No, but I don't think that's time management. It's just like there's a lot going on in a day, you know. There's a lot to get done. You had to cook dinner. I went to visit my grandma. I had to walk the puppy. I have a child now, you know. And that my child comes first. Well, not really, but everything I do comes first. But it's hard to be so precise with time nowadays. What are your thoughts on time in general? Like, do you think time is a real thing, or what are your thoughts on time?
I think that if, you have people waiting, then yeah, time is a really real thing. In general, of course, time is a construct, right? They use time to sort of put us into this, I guess, box or this cycle or system where we're just waking up, going to work, going to school, doing all those things, and nighttime comes, we have to go to sleep. So, obviously, it's used to control us, but also it also makes sure that, we're working together. Like right now, I was waiting 45 minutes for you to call me, and I was sitting here okay, what's happening? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It works both ways, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like for me, I move. It's not that I don't respect other people's time, and I do expect people to respect mine, but I don't know. I just feel like there are some things that you just can't control, and I do feel like time is one of those things. And I think us as people, we spend so much time trying to control time, especially when it comes to showing up on time. And, of course, for work, they have you on the structure. You got to be at work at 8 a.m. or 7, whatever your time you start. You know what I'm saying? But no one talks about how, you leaving on time. Or if you stay back and spend extra hours, no one talks about that or complains about that. But if you're just 5 minutes late from your start time, it's like the whole world ends.
Yeah, well, that goes back to time being used to control us, right? Time is literally used to make sure that we're sheep that are kind of moving with the herd and getting through our day. That's what time is used for, unfortunately. That's kind of the nature of the world that we live in.
Yes, and it sucks. So if you feel like I didn't respect your time today, I'm gonna apologize. But yes, we did have a conversation earlier today in the daytime when I was on the road, and I called you and I said, you know what? Why don't you? I had texted you, I think it was yesterday or the day before, about possibly coming on the Who and How Club, just to have a conversation, and
I wanted to do it in person.
Yes.
After coronavirus passed, but
yes.
Harris is a little bit more stubborn, so he insisted that we do it over the phone, which is cool.
Yes, I figured our episode, we're gonna get into who you are as a person, how you and I know each other, and get into all of that jazz. But knowing you, I mean, you always call me stubborn, but I feel like knowing you and knowing how our conversations tend to go, your episode could definitely be like a part 2, part 3. We could always split it up into different pieces, because I know our conversations are going to go pretty deep, and we might argue a little bit or debate on some things. So I'm excited to talk to you.
Okay, I'm here for it. Let's do it.
I do appreciate you coming on the show, though. So thank you for that. I want to say that and start off with that first.
No problem. Definitely pushing my comfort zones, but that's what I said I was doing in 2020. Like I was pushing all my comfort zones. So
yes,
I'm here.
Yes.
Yeah,
let's do it. Okay, so first off, I want to, for those who are just tuning in and they don't, you're a brand new person to the club, to the show in general. So I wanted to maybe, let the people know who you are. Just who you are, aside from your name being Kailia. Who is Kailia? Who would you say Kailia is if you were to tell someone who's just tuning in?
I don't know. Like I really hate that question, to be honest. The "who are you" question, because I feel like it tries to force us to put ourselves into, again, these boxes that make it easier for people to figure us out and understand us. I also feel like, if you walk by me in the mall or if you talk to me for 10 minutes, you've already decided, who you think I am. So why do I need to necessarily define myself to someone or tell myself, or tell someone who I am, right?
Yeah.
So right now I feel like in general, I'm just sort of focused on understanding myself. I feel like people in general, and especially me, I haven't taken time to just get to know who I am, to like comb through all the nitty gritty of myself and just kind of figure out like who I am at my core, what makes me happy, what makes me sad, all that shit. I can swear, yeah?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You can say anything you want on this show, on this platform.
No, all
please.
that shit that we try to hide from people.
Yeah.
I'm trying to jump into that so that I can really understand myself and understand what makes me tick. Because if we don't understand ourselves, in 20 years, when you ask who I am, I'm gonna say, "Oh, I'm still figuring that out." We're always just figuring that out. So I don't love that question because I don't want to be put into a box, and I feel like I spent so much of my life trying to fight against stereotypes and people trying to define
labels
me,
and boxes,
trying to prove who I'm not.
Yeah.
But if I really did have to say something about myself, I would say that at my core, I'm just like a creative. I'm an artist. I love all things art, every medium, from music to fashion to writing. I actually went to school for writing.
Yeah.
Because I just love the way people are able to express themselves through art. All that bullshit that we carry with us, we can sort of let go and release using art. So I'd say that's the most consistent thing in my life has been art and my love of art.
And creating. Just being a creator,
That's the way I would define myself if I really had to. It's just art,
Yes. Do you feel like, I mean, you kind of mentioned it, but knowing who you are for yourself is definitely something that's important. Would you agree with that, or?
Of course, yeah, because I feel like we don't spend enough time getting to know ourselves. We spend most of our time filtering ourselves and trying to make sure people don't know the truth about us rather than getting to know our own truth, if that makes sense, Yes,
knowing oneself before even sharing a piece of that. How do you know the piece of yourself that you're sharing is actually who you are if you haven't taken the time to actually get to know if that's a piece of who you are?
Exactly. That's how I feel about that.
Do you feel and just sticking on that topic, do you feel like we'll ever be able to figure out who we are? Is it a group thing or is it an individual thing when it comes to knowing oneself? Are we put here to figure out who we are as, people? Or do you feel it's each person's journey to be on that vibe?
I think it's each person's journey because some people look at life as they have one ultimate end goal. They want to be a doctor and they work their whole life to be a doctor. That's their goal. And then you have some people that look at life as a bunch of little moments. And that's how they define their life. So I really think it's an individual thing, and everybody has the right to go about it the way they want to, even though most of us don't. Most of us, we choose the type of life we think we should have, and that's what we go with. But I think if we want to, we have the right to explore life however we feel and set whatever goal and expectation for ourselves that we want to.
Yes. You're so smart. I like the way your brain works, and I agree with you. But we don't. like I mentioned earlier, you and I, actually, no, I don't think I mentioned this, but you and I in conversation, we always point out, you love to point out that you and I hardly agree on things. So during this episode and this conversation, I'm going to try to find things very specifically on things that we do agree on, so that in the in future sense, whenever you bring up the fact that we don't agree on things, I'm going to bring these things up that we've agreed upon. So this is number one. I agree with everything you're saying so far. And I don't know. I just feel. Sorry, go.
I don't necessarily think it's that we don't agree on things. I think it's that I feel like maybe I don't have a preconceived notion of how things and people should be and act, and I feel like you kind of do.
Well, you know what you know, right?
Exactly, and that's the thing. I feel like I know that I don't really know anything.
Yeah.
That I try to give people the space to be whoever they want to be,
yes,
and not push my own agenda on them. Not saying that you do, but I think that you have to let people kind of just like be who they are and not push your own or project your own stuff on them, your own expectations on them. And I think that's kind of where we differ.
Where we clash, yeah. But can I be honest with you? There, in my lifetime so far, 30 years being on this planet, there are very few walking individuals that have okay, for an example, like the Who and How Club, right? I created it and came up with this idea because I am looking for something. I'm looking for people who are, I guess, separate from the herd. Separate from the majority. I feel like the majority, this whole majority rules concept, for an example, it's just followers, right? Like people, the majority, most of those people are the same. Some of them are robots. Some of them think alike. You know, everyone's like group think, and everyone's in their comfort zone when they know that they belong to this specific group that, you know, even if they don't even think that way, that this particular group thinks, they're more comfortable being a part of that because they don't want to feel alone or separate. But I created the Who and How Club to look for individuals that aren't afraid to step out of that comfort zone, step outside of that box, think outside of the box, and be themselves, their true selves. And there are very few people, and you're included in this, that have either surprised me or I could really look at and be like, you know what, that individual is truly an individual and very unique in their own way. I don't think everyone is unique in their own way. I do feel like there are groups of people that exist in order for groups of people like us to exist. Because how would we know how to exist if we saw something and didn't know how to not be? If you get what I'm trying to say. Like if I see a person in front of me my entire life who's a liar, and I don't ever want to be a liar, I need to know what a liar looks like so I know that that's not who I am or want to be. I need that example to mirror off of, you know what I mean? Or to bounce off of and to shape myself into something opposite of that. So I feel like that whole preconceived thing is just that I've seen a lot of the same types of people in my life. So it's easier to judge off the bat. Not to say I don't give people an opportunity to prove themselves or, you know, to prove me wrong even, but I'm rarely surprised. You surprise me. That our connection surprises me. The fact that you and I could be on this phone call right now surprises me because our history, which we'll get into in a little bit, it's a bit unique.
Yeah.
And I cherish the unique things and the unique people that I come across in my life. The herd, I don't really, you know. I
mean, I feel that, right? But yeah. I mean, I didn't make and this is, I think, where it goes back to when I was talking about I always used to fight the system, I guess.
Yes.
And like go against anyone who I felt was trying to put me into a box. Yes. I didn't make the decision to go against the herd. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I didn't say, oh, I hate all the shit that these people are doing. I'm going to do something different. I am just out here existing. Right.
You didn't consciously do it. You just, you're existing, like you're saying.
Exactly.
This is who you are.
I am the way I am.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Me too.
I may not agree with what other people do, and I may not want to make those same life choices, but I also don't give a shit about the choices you want to make as long as you're not hurting anyone else yourself necessarily or
yes.
others. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
as long as you're doing your thing, then I don't care what you want to do. And I don't judge what you want to do. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, if you want to have, maybe for me, I don't want to have a bunch of kids or whatever, but there's
yes.
tons of people out there who want to have a bunch of kids. Have
yes.
your kids. That's
yes.
not for me, but I love that for you if that's what you want. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I feel like for me, being who I am, it's just who I've always been.
Yes.
And it wasn't until I released the idea that I had to be this different person that I was actually able to just be who I am, who happens to be this person that you're saying you feel is unique. I don't
yes.
feel that I'm unique. I feel that I'm just myself. And as I get older or as I go through more shit in my life, I just become more fucking unapologetic about it, and that's it.
I like that, because what if who we are is really, what if that's the answer to who we are? Like, just being is the answer to who we are, because there are people out there that are being the opposite of who they are. They spend their entire lives being the opposite, right? So maybe the people who are just being themselves and living and existing, like you said, this is just who you are. You're not consciously going against something just to prove a point or anything like that. You're just, this is who you are. Maybe that's the answer. I have a problem with the people who are spending their entire lives being something they're not because someone told them to be something, because they're not even comfortable with who they are. You know, the insecurities, which we all have, of course, but to the point that you're changing who you actually are just to please somebody or to please the herd that you want to be so much a part of. I could never feed into that. And I don't like to play the game. Like, when a person's in front of me, I'm reading. It's like a book. It's like codes from the Matrix. Like, I recognize this code.
Mm-hmm.
You are a code, for an example, that I can never decipher. And I don't think I've ever tried to. And if I did, I gave up very early because, you know, it's just like, I don't think that's our story. I think I'm going to say, I think you're unique because I haven't met a person like you before. So that's where that uniqueness comes in.
I mean, yeah. I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that. I think that when we first met, we were like, I don't know, 18, 19.
Well, we were kids.
And I think that why because we used to definitely like butt heads about a lot of things. I feel like now we still would if we hadn't, I don't know, maybe changed the way we approach each other and other people around us. I feel like back in the day, you were maybe one of those people that I felt always wanted me to be a certain way that I wasn't, and. Yeah. I feel like you were often like angry with me and stuff because I wasn't the way you wanted me to be. And I feel like that's why we really butt heads back in the day. And also, going back to your point about, people who just move with the herd, and people who, I guess, go against the grain or whatever. I think that either way you look at it, it takes work. Like, it takes work to wake up every day. Or not even work. It takes something from you. Either way you look at it, it takes something from you to every day get up and go to that 9-to-5 job that you hate and put on this happy thing. Like, that takes work. That takes dedication. Like, as much as it seems like, oh, you're just being a sheep, whatever. That still takes work because it's taking away from who you really are.
Yes.
Just the way me living exactly as I want to be and just being very open about who I am, that also takes work because it would be easier for me to just, wear something that everyone else is wearing. It would be easier for me to not, go somewhere and have people like stare at me because I'm doing this or wearing that or being different or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Either way you approach life, it takes work. Even if, you're sitting there saying, oh, I don't like the way that person approaches life. It's mundane. It's boring. It still takes work. And I think that we can't take that away from people. Like, life is like fucked up any way you approach it. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
So for me, I like to approach, I've been working on it because, again, it took me time to get here. I've been working on approaching life from my truth because if I approach it from a place of I guess, like, putting blocks up and putting my walls up, that still takes work. So why not just approach it with my truth, which also takes work? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm putting in the work anyway, why not put in the work to achieve whatever I want to fucking achieve? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think another group of people that I kind of have an issue with is like, okay, let's say there are people out there who, and we're going to get back to some of the things you just mentioned, but let's say there are people out there who really want to live their truth, right? But they're not doing anything about it in order to do that. So like the complainers, for an example, like they're at a place where they don't want to be at, whether it's in a relationship, at a place of employment, whatever, they just, all they do is complain, but they do nothing about it. And I feel, have you ever been one of those people, would you say? Was there ever a time that like you were in a place and like you were, go with what you're saying.
Of course, like that's still me sometimes. There's still shit that I'm looking right at, and I'm like, yo, if I just fucking got up off the couch, I could grab that remote control, and my life would, you know what I mean? There's still things that I'm looking right at that are completely attainable, but I sit back and complain instead of going for them. Just because, I'm an individual or I'm unique, that doesn't mean that I always go for all the shit that I want. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still dealing with shit like that. I'm still not chasing my dreams. I'm still, just because you have one aspect of your life figured out doesn't mean the rest just falls into place. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I feel like it's hard. It's really, like, for me, even to get to where I am at this very moment, it was tough. Like, it took a lot of loss, a lot of like death in my family. It took a lot of shit for me to get to the place that I am at today. Like, being the person I am today didn't come without sacrifice. You know what I mean? So right now I'm just working on just the momentum, basically. I'm taking this momentum and all the shit that I've kind of worked my way through, and I'm running with it. I'm not putting too much pressure on myself because I know where I'm coming from, but I'm just running with this fuel that I suddenly have. You know what I mean? It didn't just come overnight. It was fucking hard. Like October of last year, I was in a horrible place. You know what I mean? But then something shifted in me. And sometimes not everybody gets that aha moment or that shift. Not everybody hits rock bottom before they can come back up. You know what I mean? Everybody's at different places. And I think that's just the truth of the matter. You know what I mean? We put so much pressure on ourselves and each other to always be doing. But like, even the situation we're in right now with coronavirus has shown us that we don't always have to be doing.
Yes.
That like mental health can come first, that it's okay to take a beat, that you're not a bum because you missed the mark one or two times. You know what I mean?
Yes. I feel like this state that we're in with the virus and everything, I think it's going to change things. I don't know if you agree on this, but I feel like it's going to change things systemically. I just feel like a lot of things are about to shift, and it's because of this thing. And I think that's why I'm not as worried as some other folks are. I mean, I am, taking those extra precautions, right? And I'm still at work. In the field that I'm in, I can't really, we're not shutting down. I'm in the social services field. So, we're here to serve the people and the homeless people in the city of Toronto. So we're not going to be shutting down anytime soon. In fact, we're going to be a part of that, transition and stuff like that. But even with that said, and not having much of a fear, it kind of stems from just having this feeling in my heart that things are about to shift. And people getting this downtime to focus on themselves, I think it's well needed. It just sucks that some people are off of work and might not be able to, afford some things or to pay their bills. Like there are many pros and cons to this entire situation.
Yeah, and like all the people that are dying is a huge con.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I think we just got to know something came out today that we had our third death in Ontario, or I can't remember if it was Toronto or Ontario. I think it was Ontario, though. We had our third death. So it's scary. It's very scary. Like when I'm on the road and I see it's like a ghost town everywhere I'm driving. Like, where are the people? You know what I mean? It's like things you and I were talking earlier about, like this. It feels like everything we've ever seen in a film it's now real life. Like we're seeing people with the masks and this quarantine and all of that jazz. Like, how are you spending your quarantine, if you don't mind me asking?
Honestly, it's weird. This quarantine thing has been really weird for me because I started 2019 with like this, okay, I'm going to do
2020 or 2019?
Pardon?
2020 or 2019?
2020, I meant. Did I say 2019?
You said 2019, yeah.
I started 2020 with this idea, like, I'm going to do all the things, I'm going to meet all the people, I'm going to network, I'm going to go everything somebody invites me to, I'm going to fucking go. Like, I just hit the ground running like that. I was, like, going to all these events, doing all these things, like, networking, meeting all these people. And then coronavirus was like, nah, girl, we're just going to end all that for you. You know what I mean? And it kind of pushed me back into a place where I was in 2019, where I was, like, really depressed. I was really sad. I was going through a lot of things. However, this time, I'm not in that same place where I'm, like, depressed and sad. So I'm still keeping up that momentum. I'm still, I'm waking up every morning and I'm, like, working out. I'm doing some bootleg hot yoga in front of my heater. Yeah. I'm cooking. I'm playing video games. I'm dancing around my house. I'm performing for all my throw cushions. Yeah. I'm just, like, living my best life, like, under quarantine. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I think that, ironically, the fact that, like, I spend so much time in isolation going through my bullshit for, a couple of years, I want to say, like, while my dad was sick and through all of his illness, it's kind of prepared me to, like, be chilling at home, to be okay with that and to be okay with being by myself. I think a lot of people are having a hard time with quarantine because a lot of us aren't okay being by ourselves. We're not okay looking ourselves in the mirror, you know what I mean? And and just, like, being with ourselves because, again, we don't take time to understand ourselves. I spend so much time locked in a room only with myself, trying to understand myself, that I'm cool, and I'm chilling, I'm doing all the things, you know what I mean? Yes. So for me, it's been okay, but I understand some people are having a really fucking hard time, and so I've been trying to be there and have conversations with people I've never talked to before on Instagram and social media. I've been more active on social media than ever. I've decided I'm not too cool for anything you tag me in, I'm going to do it, because right now that's what the world needs, that's what people need, you know what I mean?
Yes. Do you feel like we're gonna overcome this and come out of it? Like, what do you see? What do you predict in your heart and in your mind?
Honestly, I like to think that I'm not an optimist. I'm not a pessimist. I'm just like a realist. And the truth is that I don't actually know. Yeah. I feel like prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Yeah. And that's where I'm at right now. Like, I'm not scared, but just because I'm not scared doesn't mean I just go outside all willy-nilly, or that, like, I don't wear gloves and shit, you know what I mean, or I don't wash my hands. You don't have to be scared. You don't have to be scared.
Have you been out the house? Have you been out the house?
Oh, yeah. Have you gone? Okay. Grocery shopping and shit like that, but, like, only grocery shopping.
Okay,
that's a necessity. I'm still trying to eat clean, you know what I mean? Eat fresh food, which eventually I'm sure I'll be eating, like, spaghetti with almond milk or whatever. But for now, I'm still trying to, eat okay and everything like that. So yeah, I've been grocery shopping.
Well, it's hard to do. It's hard to do anything if everything's being shut down anyway, right? I think that we're running out of things to even occupy ourselves with externally, like outside of our own homes. So a lot of folks are stuck in their phones, and we see a lot of challenges coming from the phones and stuff like that. But I think, going back to what you were saying about, like, taking some time to yourself, maybe taking this time to self-reflect, to, like, I truly believe that this is going to shift a lot of things systemically, and also, for people out there. Like, we've needed some sort of break, but it sucks that people have to die within this, and it has to get to this point in order for people to get some time to themselves, So
I think that for now, it's, like, cute and everything like that. It depends on how long it lasts, for how, like, the morale of the people, right? Like, right now, everybody's still joking about it on Instagram, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. If it lasts a month, 2 months, shit's gonna get real, you know what I mean? Like, people, everything's gonna change, you know what I mean? Like, we're falling into recession faster than any of us have ever witnessed in our lifetimes, you know what I mean? Yes. Like, everyone's like, oh, cheap gas, but that's, like, not cool, you know what I mean? The fact that you can get gas for 53 cents, and 2 weeks ago it was $1, I don't know, 15, 16, 20, that's not cool, you know what I mean?
But that's the system.
Of it will die out, and it sounds fucked up to say, but there is a novelty surrounding it right now. It's something that we're all in together, and it's like, okay, we're going through this, we can get through this. But, like, the morale and the novelty, if this lasts more than 2 weeks, everyone's pushing 2 weeks. But when did everyone's 2-week quarantine start? Some people's 2 weeks started yesterday. Some people
today. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody's banking on 2 weeks, but like that's naive. You know what I mean? So.
But I think if we could survive through something like this, you're mentioning the gas prices going low. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think.
But I'm sorry to cut you off, but like
no,
what I
go.
can't stand are these fucking celebrities that are in their mansions holding up their signs saying stay home. I get what they're trying to say. They're trying to say don't go out and party. That's the message that they're pushing.
Yeah.
However, it is so easy for a celebrity to stay home. You know what I mean? It's so easy when you have all this money and everything to stay home. There are people who live paycheck to paycheck who could not go out last Thursday and panic buy all the fucking toilet paper. So now that you've bought all the fucking toilet paper, this man who only, got paid yesterday has to go to every no frills to try to find some fucking toilet paper. But you want him to stay inside. You know what I mean? You also have to use common sense. If you want everybody to kind of make it through this, you have to live life and consider other people. And that's like my biggest issue with all of this right now. You know what I mean? Like, people's true colors are still showing. You know what I mean?
I think it's a double-edged sword with the celebrity thing, because as we know, like, celebrities, they have a lot of power, and if they're using their power for positivity and promoting a message, whether or not they're getting paid for it, I don't know. If these are their true beliefs with this whole situation, we don't know. But I mean, if they're using their platform to encourage people to stay home and stuff like that, and that'll keep people safe, I'm all for it. But I also get your point as well. It's a double-edged, man.
No, like, I'm not knocking the message. I agree. Stay the fuck home. It's not hard. Stay the fuck home. It's not the message. It's the privilege behind the message. You know what I mean? You also have to recognize that, like, even me, I could go out and buy everything I wanted last week, like, no problem. If I wanted to buy toilet paper, I could have all these kind of things. So, like, you have to also recognize your privilege wherever you are on the spectrum. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, why don't they find out who really needs help and maybe use their privilege to maybe send some people some money or something like that so they can survive during this off time or something?
I don't even mean it like that. I don't even mean it on, like, a deep level. I just mean, like, some, like, poor-ass mom, goes on Instagram for a release, and then some celebrity's holding up stay home. Well, she feels like shit because she knows she can't stay home right now. She knows she has to lug her ass probably on the bus or whatever. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying that, like, there's two sides to every story. Yeah, stay the fuck home, but also there's so many people right now who can't stay the fuck home, unfortunately. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not knocking it. I don't want people to be like, oh, she's promoting, like, going out and shit, because that's not what I'm saying.
Yes.
I'm just saying I always like to see both sides of every scenario.
Yes.
Because it's so easy with one turn of events to be on the opposite side. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, the losers who are going out partying, like, fuck them. But, like, I'm just saying, like, the people who are actively trying and doing the most they can, we have to recognize those too. Like, those people who are doing the most that they can from wherever they can. You know what I mean?
100%. It's I don't know, man. We'll see. I'm trying to do my best to stay optimistic. And I think some of my optimism has turned people off because they feel like maybe I'm not taking it seriously. Like, the past couple of days, I've been asked, hey, Eris, like, why are you smiling? Why are you so happy? Because other people aren't. They're really miserable in this state. And I feel like someone needs to be positive. Someone needs to be optimistic. Someone needs to have hope and keep faith, because if the majority, going back to that, aren't, there's going to be those few like us, for an example, that are just, pushing for, this. I'm looking at the outcome of this, and hopefully that the outcome of this could be a positive one. That's my hope. That's the faith that I have in this. It sucks that people are passing away and we're losing numbers on this planet. And then it makes me feel like, is this population control? Like, where does this come from? Does anyone really know what's happening right now? I try not to watch the news. Like, I'm getting the updates on my phone, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know if the news or these people talking about everything and reporting on it, do we know everything? Is there a plan set that could really save people? I don't think there truly is. We just got to wait it out. This is a universe thing. This is an earth thing. It's just what's happening. So let's see. I don't want to jump the gun.
I think we just have to leave it there, because I feel like there's there's so many unknowns. We don't even know what we're dealing with. The government doesn't really know what they're dealing with. This is all just, everybody's going through it together. Also, apologize for calling people who are going out partying fucking losers, because that was like a little bit. So I do think that's for that.
You caught it. You caught it. That's good.
I apologize for that because that was like very harsh. I know that people deal with things differently, so I apologize.
I didn't oppose. I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, yeah.
No, I do. I apologize
I'm
for that
joking.
because again, that's
no, to each his own. To each his own, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I just think that we don't really know right now. So that's how I'm leaving it. I even said that I wasn't going to talk about coronavirus anymore because people, like, if you're not scared, people are surprised, and I feel like try to instill you with fear and stuff like that. And I just feel like not being scared does not mean you're not proactive. And like the two don't necessarily go hand in hand. Anyway, yes. I don't think we should talk about coronavirus anymore because
no, I think you officially win the title of like the best intro of an episode. Like we haven't even started yet, and this is like hold on, how long are we in? We're 35 minutes in. And we've touched on so much, and there's so much energy in this conversation, and I appreciate you just being honest and just being open and everything like that, and fearless in the conversation, because I think you're inspiring me, and my brain is going, and yeah, this is why I want to just have people that I know, especially to just to come on the show and just share their thoughts and perspectives. Like, even though you and I know each other, there's been a huge gap in between us interacting in life. You mentioned you and I met like when we were 18, very young, and I'm 30 now. How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
I am also 30.
30 as well. Okay. So we figured out who you are. We know what your perspectives are on certain things.
Everybody knows who I am now.
Exactly. Let's talk about how you and I, like our history for a second. It doesn't have to be so in depth, but just to give the people an idea on why I've asked you. You're not just a stranger to me. We met back in the day when we were kids, pretty much. And you were a girl that I liked. I've always liked you. And I'm sure you liked me at some point, and we could never hit it off the right way. And I think one of the reasons could be, what you mentioned earlier about like I've always wanted to, I guess you have felt that I've always wanted to change you, or like I've expected things from you that maybe you weren't able to offer or present, and you were in your own zone. I was in my own zone. I always thought you were an asshole. You thought I was a dick, and I'm stubborn, and we would clash in that.
I think you have this idea, even back then, you like want a wife, and you want a very specific wife, and I was never that. And never that. And I think that was the biggest thing. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, we are all types of 12.
There was no way I could want a wife at that age. I was just a bit more mature than some guys. But
I don't know, but yeah. Whatever. Yeah, we met the summer that I graduated from high school.
Yeah, that's crazy, eh?
So that's like, yeah, that is crazy. Super crazy.
And that's like over a decade, right?
Yeah.
Over a decade. So
that's like 12 years.
Yeah. So we have that history, and we were always on and off in and communicating and stuff like that. And we would hang out, we would chill here and there. Some summers we would reconnect, and we would go like, there were always, those little moments that we had when we were younger. And then there was a huge gap.
Yeah.
So where do you think, why was there such a huge gap? Because can we really say, I mean, that was about 12 years ago, but we haven't been speaking for 12 years. And then so we've touched on the beginning. Let's focus on the middle right now, and then we'll get to the present on how we've reconnected. But why do you think there was such a gap? And how long was that gap?
Honestly, I think that it's literally I got into a long-term serious relationship.
Yeah.
Basically from like starting age like 24, something like that.
Yeah.
So I think that was, for me, that was the gap, right? Like I literally didn't talk to any guy that I knew anymore at that point in time because you tread on some thin ice when you do that. So I just didn't talk to any other guys at that time, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Especially guys that you have history with, or like, sexual attention, anything like that. You stop talking to them, right?
Yes.
So that's what I did. At least for me, that's really what it is. If I hadn't gone into that relationship, we probably would have still been in and out of each other's lives until now, I think.
Yeah, because I think even after 18, like we would still be in each other's lives, even in the early 20s, right? And then I think we would come across each other online very randomly and stuff like that in random moments. And then thanks to Instagram, we, would you say that that's the moment where we reconnected? Was it because of Instagram or? Like, what's the furthest moment that you remember, like, oh, we reconnected in some form of fashion? For me, it's Instagram or Facebook or Instagram.
Honestly, you used to text me. I don't know if you just texted everyone on your phone, but you should text me and invite me to your events and shit. So you always kind of
kept in touch.
You were always I always kind of you stayed in my mind because you would text me every once in a while, invite me to your shows and shit like that. And then I think Instagram, it's so easy to slide into an old friend's DMs on Instagram. You know what I mean? So I feel like, Instagram definitely.
Okay, so now we get to our current, reconnection, and I feel I feel really happy to be a part of your life in the way that I am now, because you had mentioned that you said 2020 you're gonna hit the ground running with sort of just being a part of things that people invite you to and sort of opening up and, putting your walls down, I guess, just a little tad. And I feel like the events that I've been putting on with the Who and How Club have allowed us to kind of reconnect.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about that and how, just what has kind of brought you to, what urged you to try to put your walls down for the new year and mingle with new people and try to get out of your comfort zone? Would you say?
Honestly, if I'm being really real, a lot of everything that's kind of unfolded in my life in the past years has to stem from my dad dying 100%. So that kind of knocked me into a downward spiral where I was just super fucked up for a long time. Even when he was sick, I was just a mess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then so my dad died this February of 2018. Then February of 2019, I had another close family member die, and that was her death was my turning point in the other direction, right? So my dad's kind of made me hit rock bottom, and then her death kind of was okay, life's really fucking short. Let's turn this around. And then after that, I sort of started working on just taking baby steps towards picking up the pieces and figuring my shit out and getting my stuff together. And then summer of 2019 hit, and I started to kind of work more on getting back in shape and feeling better about myself and just going out with friends and things like that. And then fall, I kind of had a relapse, and I had a really fucked up time. And again, that's around my dad's birthday, so I don't know if that's a trigger or anything like that. And then after that, I was no, we're doing this. I made not even New Year's resolution, but I was okay, I'm turning 31.
Yeah.
I have so many things, I have so many things that I want to do. My dad and I had the greatest relationship. I need to my life for my dad, not in the sense of dedicating everything I do to him, but my dad would want me to freaking do all the things he knew I could do. You know what I mean? My dad was my biggest cheerleader. Anything I ever tried, he was you can do this. You're a jack of all trades. Anything you touch, you can turn to gold or whatever. So then I was you know what? Let's take that and instead of it being a source of pain, let's turn that into our fuel to keep us going. You know what I mean? And then ever since that, I've just kind of been riding this high, and I feel everything kind of works in unison. You know what I mean? My happiness fuels my confidence fuels my social activity. Everything kind of is working in unison for me right now, and that's really, I guess that's something that's really important for me. All aspects of myself are kind of really connected in that way. If I feel good about myself, I'm going to be confident. You know what I mean? And I don't mean confident as in, like, I think I'm, like, the hottest girl in the room or something, but just, like, confidence as in, like, I don't look to anyone else to feel good about myself.
Do you feel
you know
like...
what I mean?
No, for sure. Do you feel like you have to honor your father in doing that? Like, doing this is sort of like honoring him in his passing, you know, like this is something that he would want for you. He would want you to, you know, push yourself and, you know, just put yourself in different environments around different people and shed your old skin, let's say, put your walls down and try new things. Do you think that you do that in honor of him?
Honestly, no, not at all, because my dad was very much, he wouldn't want me to carry that pressure. He wouldn't want me to carry that burden, right? Because if you start living your life to honor, you know, the dead or whatever, that creates a hole and a burden and a weight in and of itself. You know what I mean?
Right.
So this, where it was fueled by my dad and my aunt passing, it's in honor of them, not for them, not to, you know, honor it's just to honor that they ever existed. Do you know what I mean? Like, my existence is so much more important because they existed, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So
it's not about them passing, them not being here. It's about the fact that they were here, what kind of shapes you and makes who you are today.
Yeah, and the marks they left on me as people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I should be sharing those marks that they left on me. You know, a big part of my personality and my attitude, the way I look at life, is my dad. A huge part of that is my dad. You know what I mean? Like, he just was the coolest person ever, and he, like, always encouraged me to just be fucking cool. You know what I mean? Just, like, do your own thing, just be cool. So it's just like, okay, like, this person instilled me with so many things to help me get through this. Like, so I'm going to do it now. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't feel this pressure. It's not a pressure because that's not how our relationships were. I think if you did have a relationship with a person who put a lot of pressure on you to be a certain way, I think maybe, I would feel that burden. You know what I mean? That burden to, like, live my life the way they would want me to. But because the relationship I had with my dad was very, like, take me as I am, flaws and all, like, I see you, we see each other, it makes it easier for me to just navigate life, but just make sure I'm navigating it the way I want to. You know what I mean?
Yes, 100%. I'm happy. I appreciate you sharing all of this. It means a lot. I haven't had anybody close to me pass away yet. And it's weird to think, I was just thinking that, you know, there are moments where I think, like, you know, my grandmother, who's like the elder in the family at the moment and the oldest, like, she could probably pass away, but, you know, it could be me. It could be someone way younger. It doesn't have to be the person who's the eldest in the family. Like, anyone could pass. And I sometimes, when I'm by myself, I think these thoughts cross my mind about, like, you know, how would I feel if such and such passed? Like, I already know how I would feel if my grandmother did. I know what marks she's left on me. You know, she taught me the foundations, you know, the manners, respecting women and all that jazz, the importance of family, etc., etc. But if my first cousin passed, you know, I that's why I'm trying to, like, right now I'm spending a lot of time with family, because I think in this moment I'm cherishing family even more now than I did when I was younger, because I understand how short life can be. It's long, but it can also be short, and you never know what's going to happen, who won't be here tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So I try to live my life, like, not like so aggressively, or like, you know, oh, I have one life to live, so I got to do everything now or else I might die tomorrow. But we have to cherish the little things, especially the things that we have access to, especially if those things are in human form or family form. Like, let's cherish those things. You and my connection, like, I do cherish it. Like, I cherish the fact that you're a person that I've been able to come across and share something with and be able to have a conversation with today in 2020. At this stage of our lives, you know, like, it's something to cherish, and we have to look at things and cherish these things a bit more and appreciate them, because you never know when someone's not here anymore or won't be here. Think about that connection you have with someone or something you've learned from them. Like, don't wait until they're gone to like either honor them or shout them out. Like, use them while they're here, and then hopefully
it's true,
they
but
can
you
use
know
you.
what? The reality of, at least my experience, everybody deals with loss differently, because some people, people die for them and it doesn't destroy their life, for a couple years like it did mine. Everybody deals with loss differently.
Yeah.
But I think that no matter what, I get what you're saying about like cherish every moment or whatever, but I feel like no matter what, when someone dies, you're gonna feel regret. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna regret the last time you spoke to them because of something you didn't say, something you didn't do. Even if you saw them a moment before they died and you were like, I love you, you're gonna be like, oh, I should have said I loved you and given them a kiss. Or I should have said I loved you and given them a hug. You know what I mean? No matter what, you're going to feel regret. No matter what you do, how much time you spend with that person, it's never going to have been enough. And that's simply because you're never going to get another moment to rectify that. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that I had to realize. And it's not something you can teach. Like, you can't teach someone how to grieve. You can't, you can teach people how to cope after the fact. But in advance, you can't take classes on how to grieve, because you don't know what you're going to feel until you've already felt it. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where, like, you can't mentally prepare for it. Like, I knew my dad was going to die at some point, and I tried to mentally prepare for it, but, like, it was just something that you can't fathom until it's actually happened, right?
Is there something that you feel like you regret that you didn't get a chance to say to him?
No, not that I didn't say to him. I just wish that we had, I think because I had such a hard time when he was sick, like dealing with him being sick, I think that like we didn't have as many of our like deep convos and our long talks, and we used to go for long walks in the park and just like talk about life and childhood or whatever. And I think because I had a hard time being around him when he was sick, I kind of didn't do that as much with him. I had a harder time just like delving into the deep nitty gritty shit with him than I normally would, because it was like, the fact that I knew he was going to die was kind of like the elephant in the room.
Yes.
So I guess that would be the only thing that I really regret, is like that I didn't have more of those deep convos, and more for him than for me, because I think that was something that he loved about our relationship, that we could, even though we were father-daughter, we could be like friends too. You know what I mean? And I think that's probably, he like growing up, he grew up in Canada, but being like Jamaican background, you know what I mean? I think that's not something that's like in his day was super common, where you could like, your parents were always your parents, you know what I mean? And
right.
There wasn't like this line that you crossed. And I think because he had daughters and just his mindset, he was able to sort of transcend that father-daughter relationship with me. And so I just wish that we had like just kept that going all the way till the end. But it was me. I had such a hard time, you know what I mean? Like dealing with seeing him in certain ways.
Yes.
And seeing him, yeah.
And I have a few more questions about this, and if you're not comfortable, please let me know. But I wanted to ask you if you had the chance to say something to him like right now, what is one thing that you would say to your dad if you could?
Honestly, like I don't even know. Like I in my life I've said I can say that I've said everything. You know what I mean? I said everything I wanted to say to my dad in his lifetime. I think that the only thing is I'd want to be able to talk to him about like we shared a love of music. So like when a new song that I love comes, I'd love to be able to like let him hear it.
Yes.
Or like now that COVID-19, like I'd love to be able to like get his perspective on that, because like we would just like talk about shit like that all the time. You know what I mean? Just like I think it's not so much what I would say to him. It's like all the moments, all the life that's happening that he's not in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. What is a memory that you have of him that's like your fondest, like something that you think of all the time, like whether it's a moment or a day in your mind that like when something happened, whether you were there or conversation you guys had? Like, what's something that sticks out to you, a memory of him?
Honestly, I don't have a specific memory really, because he was such a constant in my life. He was just like in every memory. You know what I mean? He's all my memories. Like, he never missed a birthday. He never missed anything. Like, every memory that I had, he's there, except from the ones that I've made in the last almost 3 years, basically. But like, he used to call me Junior because he never had any sons.
Yeah.
So I like replay in my mind like him calling me Junior. He used to call me Junior Mac because my last name's McCarthy, and just like things like that, like just like the like certain things he would say to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, those are things that I replay. Those are things that like I'm like, oh, like, you know what I mean? Or like sometimes some like fucked up shit happens and I'm like, oh, like, I wish I could like ask my dad about that, or you know what I mean? It's not he's like so present in all my memories that like there's not one specific one where I'm like, oh, that's like my favorite. But because really, like, his whole existence in my life is my favorite memory. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But like, there's just like little things about him that I really miss. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. And also, like, I have his dimple, so that's really weird for me. Like, every time I look in the mirror, I'm like, holy shit, like, I just, like, we have the exact same dimple. So there's just, like, you know, like, a little, like, little thing. Yeah.
And, so the events, and thank you for sharing all of that.
I feel like I talk really fast, but I'm sorry.
No, it's good. This is good energy. The events that I was mentioning earlier, for those who don't know, the Who and How Club, they present and I'm talking to the people right now, we present a bi-weekly event series downtown Toronto. It's called Rampage, that focuses on pretty much, self-reflective exercises where we have deep conversations with people. A lot of strangers come through, people who haven't met each other ever, and have these timed sessions of just conversations on random topics that people anonymously provide. And we also do like these writing exercises that are very self-reflective and give people the opportunity to share pieces of themselves. So we have the podcast, we have the blog, we also have the event series. Obviously Rampage is currently on hold because of the virus, and the venue that we hold the event at wants to respect the procedures, and he has shut down for now, but that venue is Blue Moon Lounge, downtown Toronto on College Street. But we're going to be announcing new dates and stuff like that once all of this stuff blows over. But Kailia has had the pleasure of coming to the events, and I've had the opportunity to reconnect with her through this event series. And it makes me think, like, if Rampage, everything is like a snowball effect, right? Like, if the Who and How Club never existed, Rampage wouldn't exist. And then if Rampage would never existed, Kailia probably wouldn't be on the phone today with me talking to you folks. So it's just weird how when you put things into perspective, everything happens for a reason. And we're really excited for Rampage to come back. So hopefully this thing blows over. But, I've seen Kailia, share pieces of herself in moments where she wasn't really ready to. And I've kind of tried to push her to, just talk to the people. You know what I mean? But I just want to commend you for still pushing yourself, being open, even being on this phone call with me today, coming to the events, and just being you.
Yeah, I think it's just a part of the process. I think I got to a point where I was like sick of my bullshit, and I think like people can give you advice.
When you're sick of your own bullshit, I think it's the best feeling ever. You don't want to be anything but greater than that bullshit, that you're trying to get away from. So I like how you said that.
That's exactly like what it is, because I feel like for me, I'm not really one to like ask for advice or take people's advice, because I feel like advice is very much fueled by someone else's expectations, perception, and projections. So if I ask someone for advice about my love life, well, maybe they have a really shitty love life, or they got burned 1,000 times. So that's gonna snowball into what type of advice they're giving me. You know what I mean? So I tend to not really ask for advice. However, I do get to a point where I'm like fed up of my own shit, and I'm like, listen, you got to get your shit together. And that's what happened to me. And I think a big part of it was just like being willing to be vulnerable. Vulnerability has been such a huge part, just like a huge topic that's been brought up with so many different people in my life over the past couple months.
Yes.
Just like that willing, like without vulnerability, like you're not doing anything. Like every step forward requires vulnerability. You know what I mean? Even every step back, because sometimes you have to be vulnerable, you fail, you fall down, you get back up. I think vulnerability is the one thing I really, really have to keep working on, and I just have to keep pushing, because I have such a hard time being vulnerable. I have such a hard time like showing emotion, opening up to people, letting people in, like, and I think that's another reason why maybe you and I, Eris, back in the day had like kind of like this roller coaster ride of a relationship, and a lot of like my friends in the past, maybe I don't talk to them anymore. Like it was my own shit, my own lack of being able to accept myself and to be vulnerable and let people in, and like this idea that if you see the real me, maybe you won't love like what you see kind of idea. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I got to a point where I was fucking sick of that. I was like, hey, we're not doing that shit anymore. Like, if you don't like me, there's so many options for how you can like exit my life. There's stores, there's cars, there's the unfollow button on Instagram. Like, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? I think you have to get to a point where, yeah, you can get all the advice that you can from every Tom, Dick, and Harry, but until you're fed up with yourself, that like you're not going to do anything until you want to. You're not going to do anything. No,
for sure. You got to do it. It's a process that you got to, you know, like if you're not ready to, like I can't love you if I don't love me. And I need to focus on loving me first before I love anybody, right? Same with trust. Same with, you know, acceptance, patience. I have to be patient with my own process and my own life and where I'm at, who I am as an individual. How can I be patient with anything external from that if I'm not even dealing with my type of, you know, my struggles or my progress in life? Like I want to be better. I want to be a better version of who I was yesterday, 2 hours ago even. I'm always self-reflecting. I'm always in my mind, and I'm a bit of an overthinker, but I always just want to be, you know, I've lost friends and relationships and let go of people because of my behavior and stuff like that, because also I wasn't ready to adjust myself based on what they expected of me. But I also acknowledge that I might have hurt some people in that process in these selfish phases of mine. And I have to acknowledge those and understand that, like, I can't keep living a life like that. You don't feel free when you're living that way, when you're lying to yourself, let's say. It's time to get over this. It's time to not grow up per se, but let's try something different. Let's get some different results. And you won't get different results without trying something different and adjusting yourself. That's why when you call me stubborn, even to this day, it's like, you should know, I wish you knew how not stubborn I am nowadays. Like, I'm actually really I'm really cool now. Like I listen to people. I'm willing to like, you know, go like try new things and like go with another person's way of doing things. I'll try something before shutting it down. I used to shut things down from the bat because it's like my way or the highway, or like I know that I'm right and you're wrong already. But no, I'm willing to like be a bit more open. And I think that right now,
well, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to apologize then for calling you stubborn all the time, because I was actually talking to one of my cousins about this. And if you are doing the work to change, or I don't even want to say change, but to improve yourself and sort of like, because you're never not going to be stubborn, let's be honest. You can be less stubborn, but it's in your nature to be stubborn. Like I don't think people change that much, but we learn how to. We learn how to adapt to situations.
Hilarious.
You know what I mean? And be like less stubborn in certain situations. You know, like you used to call me an asshole. Yeah, like maybe until the day I die, I might always be an asshole. But I've learned to be like less assholey in certain situations. When to turn up the asshole, when to turn down the asshole.
Well, you know when to use it. Exactly. It becomes like it becomes like a weapon. Like you're like a knight, and you got your shield, your sword. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. I look at it that way. But
I was talking to my cousin about this, because my cousin and I in our family are kind of the two, like she's the one who would always like like do some fuck shit, and like everybody would be pissed off at her or whatever. And I'm the one who's like always really bitchy, calling people out, blah, 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 blah. And so we recently got into it with another cousin of ours, and she was like throwing all this shit in our faces from when we were like 16 years old. And I turned to her after, my cousin that, you know, we were both getting reamed out. I turned to her and I said, it's funny how this cousin is reaming us out for things that we did when we were 16. She doesn't even know that because we've gotten so much criticism for being a certain way, we've actually been putting in the work to not be that way.
Yes.
To work on ourselves. But she has always been praised for being this great person. When everyone's always telling you you're great, you don't always think you have to improve. If people are always telling you you're shitty or you're doing fuck shit, you're more likely to try to improve. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I feel like that's why I apologize for still calling you stubborn, because you've been putting in the work, obviously, to improve. And if somebody's, you know, always throwing shit back in your face, then it's like, fuck, like...
Well, we're going based off of our experiences from the past. But if we're not going to adjust ourselves and understand that people can grow, you don't change. I don't think people change per se at their core, but they adjust, they grow. Exactly. Everyone should be growing from their, you know, putting away childish things and, you know, actually, you know, just improving on themselves and using the tools to your advantage, but not at the detriment of others. Like, okay, yes, I'm stubborn because why? I'm a Taurus. Whoop-de-doo. That's a characteristic that comes from that. Or maybe I am just a stubborn person, but how am I going to use that stubbornness? I think my stubbornness has helped me get to the point that I'm at today, and I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm happy. I'm proud of myself. You know, without that stubbornness, I'd probably be somewhere else. So it's like, unknowingly, these things are actual tools to help us maneuver in our lives. But at some point, those things control us. The stubbornness, the everything. It prevents us from experiencing new things because we're so embroiled in our fuck shit, in who we are. It's like me. Like, yeah, this is the ego. But once we grow and we separate ourselves from those characteristics or those things, you know, like I said, they're like weapons. Like, you could use them to your advantage in a good way, as long as it's not at the detriment of others. And understand that, you know, like Kailia can grow. 2020 Kailia is not 2008 Kailia. I'm aware of that. It's about awareness and accepting people's growth and process.
Yeah, and like any tool, you have to learn how to use it, right?
Exactly.
Like 18-year-old me, like, and it's weird to be thinking of these things as tools because they have such negative connotations. But really, you have to know when to. Stubborn is about knowing when to stand your ground, right? And you need that in life.
You do. You do.
But like any tool, the first time you use it, you know, you're gonna.
Yeah, you've never used it before. It's a foreign.
You learn how to use as a kid is like a pair of scissors. I remember back in the day, I took my report card home when I was in grade, like, I don't know, in kindergarten or whatever, and my mom was like, cut and paste? Like, they gave you an A for cutting and pasting? What the fuck? Like, you know, my mom was like, that's what I'm sending my kids to school for?
Yeah.
But really, like, back in the day, you know, you didn't know how to cut on the line or whatever. That's the first tool you learned how to use. But now, you know, you can cut maybe a little bit straighter. It's the same thing. Every tool you have to learn how to use it. You know what I mean? And I think that's the same with all these aspects of our character and our personalities. We have to learn when to, like, what hats to wear almost in certain situations. And it shouldn't necessarily be that way, but that's the nature of the world. That's the nature of getting by. You know what I mean?
I have a couple questions before we get into the next segment. Okay, a tool that I'm learning to use at the moment and perfect the usage of this tool is forgiveness.
Oh, okay.
Forgiveness, not only, you know, external. You know, I think you were a part of the conversation at one of the Rampage events about. Were you there when I mentioned that I felt forgiveness is overrated? Were you a part of that? Were you?
Yeah.
You were.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I felt that it was directed at me. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay, there's that ego. But no, that's funny. But I do feel like forgiveness for self is key. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we hold ourselves accountable. We have to hold ourselves accountable for sure. But we also have to not be so hard on ourselves, especially for mistakes that we've made or, you know, that that childlike behavior that we once had maybe a decade ago, or those mistakes we made. Like, we have to forgive ourselves. And I'm learning how to use that forgiveness tool right now in the right way. Is there a tool that you're currently working on that you could say, we're talking about stubbornness as a tool, forgiveness as a tool, happiness, let's say, self-awareness. These are all tools, life tools. Is there a tool that you could think of right now for yourself that you're learning how to maneuver with?
Oh my God, yeah. Again, for me, it's 100% vulnerability, because
yes,
like, just every relationship in my life, I think that I've had has been hindered by my lack of the ability to let people in, to like let them see my true colors. Every opportunity I didn't go for, every job I didn't apply for, it's like that fear of being vulnerable, that fear of wanting it. You know what I mean? Like, for me, that vulnerability definitely like manifests itself in me not wanting to show that I want this, because if I show that I want this and I don't get it, it's like people are gonna think that like I ain't shit. You know what I mean? That like I can't do this. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I've been really working on my vulnerability, and I've noticed like such connections with like even my best friends. You know what I mean? Like, even like my closest friend and I, like, I just feel like ever since I've just opened myself up a little bit more, we just have such a deeper connection, even with my mom, with the people that I meet, like new people that I meet. Like, I'm just way more open to their story, open to telling my story. And I think that's something that, and it's weird because it's a tool that I never even had at all before. So it's not even like a tool that I had that I've just learned to use. I literally just bought this tool, unboxed it, and now I'm like actively using it. You know what I mean? And
yes.
It's honestly, it's great. It's an adjustment. It takes a lot of work. It's not easy, but it's a tool that the number one tool I think I was missing in my life thus far.
Huh. We're talking about who you are, and we're getting to know you very on a deep level, which is really cool. If you were to answer like how you became who you are today, if you were to sum it up in like 3 words, or like 3 things that might have occurred, or like what got you to this point of, who you are, the version of who you are today, Kailia McCarthy today, March 25th, 2020. How did you become who you are today? How would you answer that?
Honestly, I would say being kind of like an asshole for a good chunk of my like life, being an asshole, then great loss that showed me that being an asshole doesn't get you anywhere. And then I would say just like picking up the pieces and trying to put the pieces back together and realizing that the shit that I was doing before, it doesn't work for me anymore, and that I need people, and that I want people in my life, and that it's okay to want to have people in your life. It's okay to not burn every bridge that you cross that you're done with. I used to be such a bridge burner. Yes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I would say that's kind of what brought me here. I think if I honestly, it's so fucked up to say, but if I hadn't lost the people that I lost in my life, I would never be where I am right now, because I still would have been taking everything for granted. I still would have been thinking that I'm entitled to something, and if I don't get it, then like, fuck you. Like, you know what I mean? Living my life without gratitude. Now I feel so much gratitude for every moment, every person that I meet. I just feel more humble. I feel more excited to be alive. You know what I mean? And I feel like that comes from loss. That comes from loss, from like living without something that I can never get back. It's like, okay, so I had to change. I had to become this Kailia, because I can't risk losing anything or anyone else without putting everything into my relationships or into what I love. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Top 2 pet peeves.
Top 2 pet peeves?
Yes.
Are we talking like deep level? Or are we talking like
top 2 pet peeves?
Mouth breathers.
Top 2 pet peeves.
Just in general?
Go ahead.
That's a tough one because I got a lot.
I know you got a lot. That's why I'm laughing.
I have so many.
We've spoken about pet peeves in the past, so I'm curious to know what.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna go one shallow, one deep because I feel like that's kind of my duality in life anyway. A little shallow, a lot deep. Okay, so my shallow pet peeves, definitely just people who aren't, like Costco is my pet peeve. Just like a group of people who are so involved in themselves that they just don't recognize that there are other people who need to navigate and exist in the world around them. No spatial awareness, not because, of any other reason than the fact that they're so self-absorbed. Number one, shallow pet peeve.
Okay.
On a deeper level, I really have a problem with people who don't let other people just fucking live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you come to me and you're like, yo, I want to like run away and join the circus, I'm going to be like, you know what? Here is a clown nose. Here is a big, a red wig. Have fun. Go for it.
Yeah.
But then you have some people that are just like dream killers. It doesn't hurt me to support your dream. It doesn't hurt me to make you feel like you have the greatest idea in the world if that's what you really want. So I'm going to support it. People who always have to be like, always have to play devil's advocate for everything, always have to, and I know that, like, obviously, again, it's a double-edged sword, but I like to just motivate people when I talk to people, and I think that's actually one of my strong suits, is, like, if someone comes to me with a dream or an idea, when we get off the phone, they're going for it. You know what I mean? That's my goal.
Yes.
People who are anything but that, I don't fuck with that energy, because I feel like it makes people feel so good to believe in something. And, like, if you can encourage someone to believe in themselves, like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, what does that take away from you? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Why do you keep coming to the events? Why do you keep coming to Rampage?
I don't know. Like I said this at the event. I said, as long as I'm coming and it makes me feel good and I don't leave feeling shitty, I'm going to keep coming.
Yeah.
The last one I went to, I'm not going to lie, I did not enjoy. It wasn't particular people or anything. It was just the activity, like the activities we were doing, just they didn't speak to me in that way, you know? But that's always going to happen. That doesn't mean you stop going to something. You know, and I thought about that. I was like, no, I'm going to keep going because I can bring my perspective to this. I can, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to keep going back. Not every moment is going to be stellar. You know what I mean? Like, everything is a growing pain. Everything is, you going through something. Yeah. So for me, generally speaking, it makes me feel good. I went to school and I studied English literature and creative writing, we'll put that in quotations. Yet I hadn't written anything in years until I went to Rampage. You know what I mean? So, and after I started writing, I felt so much better. So why would I stop going? You know what I mean? Why would I stop going to something that has reignited something that I loved and couldn't find the will to do anymore, you know?
Yes. I like that you brought up the vulnerability stuff, because that's a goal of mine for the Who and How Club. Like, this entire conversation has, the theme is vulnerability without us even making it the theme, like just putting walls down and just sharing information about, just sharing experiences with each other through conversation. And hopefully someone's going to listen back to this and learn something either about us or themselves, or can hopefully relate to something that either you or I said, and take that information, take those experiences and spread it to their groups of people and promote, being vulnerable is okay. You're not in danger if you're being vulnerable and shedding some skin and sharing pieces of yourself or your experiences with other people. Like, I think one of the big things for us as, like, being on this planet is for us to share with each other. Like, we are all learning from one another. We're learning from our personal experiences, but majority of those experiences include other human beings. So we're all learning from each other in some form or fashion. So to be afraid to share those experiences because of, fears of being judged or looking weak or, crying, etc. Like, these are all natural, humanistic, like, this is what we're meant to do. I truly feel like that. So with the events, that's one of the things I'm trying to promote, and with the show and all of that jazz. So really happy that you brought up vulnerability, because that's a huge component with everything that I'm trying to promote.
Yeah, I've been really trying to shift my mindset to thinking of vulnerability as a strength rather than a weakness, because it really, really is a strength. It really is. And when you are more vulnerable, so many good things can come from it, because all it is letting your guard down so you can go for what you want to go for, or you can meet who you want to meet. That's when you just break it down, dumb it down like that. That's all vulnerability really is.
Yes.
So I've been trying to reprogram or unlearn, I should say, this idea that vulnerability is a weakness, and see it as the biggest strength. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I feel like I say, you know what I mean, a lot. It's my or like.
Yeah. Yeah. No. It's good. It's good. I feel like I say like a lot, but I don't think I've said it in this conversation, so I'm happy. But actually, I was talking to someone yesterday, and I did acknowledge that, and it was just it's funny that you brought that up. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna, like I said, Rampage right now is put on hold because of what's going on in the world right now. We will be updating the people and the club very soon on when we're gonna get back to rampaging and our bi-weekly events. If you hear noise in the background, it's my puppy Apollo. He has woken up and he's going crazy in his crate, so bear with me if you hear any of that stuff. But we just want to send a special shout out to everyone who continues to support the movement, the Who and How Club as a whole, the events that we do, whoever listens in on a weekly basis. I'm truly grateful for everything, and I hope everyone is doing their best at being safe, and just staying positive in this weird time that we're in. We're gonna ask Kailia one more question before we get into to the Ask the Club segment. I wanted to ask you, Kailia, what is next for Kailia? What would you say is next for you? Like, when you think about your life, Kailia, what's next for her?
Ooh, that's interesting to ask. Honestly, I don't really know. I currently don't live in Toronto. I'm from Toronto. I am working on transitioning back to Toronto. That's my number one short-term goal. I really want to start just embracing the fact that I am a creative. I always deny it. When I go out with my friends, they introduce me and they say I'm a creative or an artist or a writer, and I'm like, no, I'm none of those things. But I want to start embracing that, and I want to start focusing more on my passions, because those are the things that make me happy. Using this tool of vulnerability to put myself out there more in different spaces. I've had friends ask me to, let's do a photo shoot. And I'm like, no, I want to just push myself to do more things that make me uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Yes.
To let people recognize something in me, and instead of denying it, go for it. You know what I mean? I think that's a big thing that I do. I self-sabotage in that way. Someone will be like, oh, I would love to do this, and this with you. And I'm like, no. Even today, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do this podcast. This is crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just want to just push myself to do more things, so that everything starts sort of falling into place. Because so many things in my life, emotionally and with me internally, are falling into place. So I'd like that to extend, outside of myself as well. So I guess just keep putting in the work I've been putting in.
Yeah, I feel like it's your time. I truly feel like that when I look at you now, regardless of your, I know you're still working through things and you're figuring yourself out, and you might have these little moments that, we all have our moments, where, we're happy. Happiness, I feel it doesn't last forever. Neither does anger. Neither does, being moody. Neither does, we get in our miserable phases and all of that jazz. We all go through those things. But I think overall, it seems like it's your time. just hearing how you speak of yourself now and how you see things. The fact that you and I are able to operate under the same umbrella or roof and not kill each other and still just have communication, and we call each other out on things, but it's like a joke, and we just, it's maturity, it's growth, and you're continuing to grow. And it's cool that, I'm able to see that a person that I have some sort of history with, and the history continues. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're going to get into the Ask the Club portion of or segment of the show. And this is where a guest, whatever guest we have on the show, they bring their own questions to ask either myself or the club or both. And whoever gets to listen, and they could, once they listen to the episode, they could share their thoughts on those questions as well if they'd like. But I'm assuming you got some questions ready?
I do.
You have? Okay.
I have some questions. They're not like, hard hitting, but, there's questions.
All right. Hit me.
Okay.
Is this to the club or me? What you got?
I guess it's for you specifically. I didn't realize that I was supposed to ask for everybody, but
no, it could all connect to the same. People might hear it and resonate with your questions and want to respond. So we'll see.
So let me preface this by saying, so there's this idea that when you get into relationships, friendships, any type of relationship, that you always have to be willing to compromise on a large scale.
Yeah.
Which I don't necessarily agree with, but that's a whole other podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so my question for you is, what are your sort of non-negotiables in any relationship, whether it's romantic or platonic? What are some things that some characteristics, some, just things that you won't put up with in any relationships in your life?
I'm ready. I'm willing to compromise everything but myself. I feel like you can't, there are certain things that we could talk about if we're talking about morals or the foundations, even I mentioned manners earlier. You know what I'm saying? Those things always have to be present. And I feel like I would never change myself from those things. I don't think anybody would want me to change from those things, thankfully, but I don't want to compromise myself in any relationship that I'm in. I want to be able to still be who I am. And I want that person to still be who they are as well. And hopefully we could find a way to build together and sort of mesh and, create something different from what we've experienced prior to. So it all depends on who I'm with. They would have to ask me, if there's something that they expect me to, I need a more specific example, something to give up. Hey, I want you to stop smoking. I don't smoke anyway, so that'll never be a conversation. I don't drink. You know what I mean? I don't.
Yeah.
So
that's
what?
what I was going to ask
yeah.
you. Do you think there's certain people that have come into your life who's and you're willing to put up with more shit from them than you would put up with from other people?
Wait, say that again?
Are there certain people in your life that have come into your life and you're willing to put up with more shit from them than you would with other people?
I think I've put up with a lot of shit already. So I feel like things that I used to put up with in the past, or that I wouldn't put up with in the past, I feel like I'm a bit more lenient now, because I feel like, I'm allowing people, going back to what you said earlier about, you felt like maybe when we were together, I wouldn't allow you to be who you were or something. I don't mind people being who they are. I don't judge you if you smoke. If you're a smoker, you're a smoker. I still like you. I'm still attracted to you. I want to do something. Yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm going to smoke. But we also have to respect the boundaries within that. So okay, I respect that you smoke. I'm not going to ask you to change, but I am going to ask you to maybe, not smoke in my place, or, that's a compromise that I would expect from that person. Mm-hmm. Maybe not. Yeah. Stuff like that. But I'm more open now. I get to know people more now than ever. I don't prejudge. I want to know. I want to know why. I can't have a platform like the Who and How Club or Rampage and not adjust my old ways or be open to people
true.
and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So
That's very
I
true.
try my
Yeah, you
best.
can't be closed-minded.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'd be a hypocrite. So, yeah.
Okay. Am I supposed to ask more questions?
Whatever you got, send them.
Okay, we kind of touched on this,
Yeah.
but how would you define for yourself a fulfilled life? Like, what to you is a fulfilled life?
Huh. I've never been asked that in my entire life. What would I consider a fulfilled life? To get specific, I mean, I'm striving to, I know what would make me feel like what I see in my mind is like, you know, obviously me doing everything that I love doing, and not letting go of those things. And I'm talking about the art stuff, you know, platforms like these, like seeing more of my ideas that I think of come to life would keep me fulfilled. Like I don't really, I'm not as picky as I used to be. I don't need much, but I just need to be able to be who I am and bring my ideas to life. And if I'm around people who are also creatives and like, you know, let's say the woman or the person that, or people, whoever that I decide to settle down with or build with, you know, or have that same mindset, and I'm building with people, you know, I want everything that I do to have meaning attached to it. I can't remember the last time I did something so superficial, even relationship wise. Like I just don't do anything for no reason anymore. Like there has to be, you know. So yeah, I think being able to just, a fulfilled life would be, you know, me still just bringing ideas of mine to life, to reality, and doing that with the people that have a similar mindset and are pursuing what they love, and just basking in love and life and, you know, energy, positivity, and, you know, some kids maybe, you know. I would love to have children.
Yeah, you've always
an opportunity to be like just a great father, you know. I would love to.
I feel that. Okay, and my last question is, do you believe that certain people are like destined to be in your life forever, or do you think that's kind of like a like toxic idea and like excuse for us keeping people in our lives?
The second thing that you said.
Okay. And why do you feel that way? Do you feel that there's some people who, again, like you've gone through some shit with them, whatever, but they're always in your life, they always come back, they always are there in some capacity, so you think that's just like, that's a toxic person, you should just get out of your life?
Well, let's focus on the experiences in that situation. Are the experiences continuing to be negative or bad? Like you could have had a bad situation with someone in the past, but now it has shifted. You know, you've had that opportunity to maybe get some closure from what has occurred, you know, forgiveness again, or, you know, you had a conversation and you're like, you know what, you know, that was something that was the old me, or, you know, we were dumb and young and whatever, you know what I mean? Like if you still have someone in your life that is just consistently, and all you're doing is complaining about it and not doing anything about it, then that could present itself as toxic. And then the only person to blame is you, because you're keeping that energy in your life. And the results of that is just negative. Now, if there's positivity coming out of it, and, you know, everything's not going to be perfect with people that are in your life. You're going to have ups and downs. And I think that's what strengthens or weakens those relationships. So it's up to us to decipher that, or not decipher, sorry, but to assess those relationships that you have, whether they're long term or short term. Isn't it weird that you can meet someone in such a short period of time, but you connect with them on such a deep level in comparison to someone that you've had in your life for so long and it's just going so crappy? You would think that the person in your life that has been there so long, you should have surpassed like depth like you guys should be the best of friends or the best of whatever, but it's just going so crappy. And then this new energy comes in your life and you're like, wow, this is what I've always wanted. This is what my long-term relationship should look like. So it'll be I think it's toxic if we just have to look at assess the experiences with those people that are in our lives.
Okay, well, to delve deeper though, do you keep that same energy and that same thought process when it comes to family? Because I know most people don't.
That's now where you gotta adjust yourself in that situation, because at the end of the day, we can't choose family. It's whack when you're in a relationship, let's say an intimate one or a friendship, and you can actually have control over that and, remove yourself or continue to be in that. And it shocks me when people continue to be in things that they could simply remove themselves out of. Family, on the other hand, you can't really control that because we don't choose our families.
Yeah, but you can still remove yourself from toxic family. Why do they get a pass just because they have the same bloodline as you?
You adjust. You just adjust. You can't get rid of them. Like, you can't escape from them is what I'm saying. The way...
Oh, I don't know. I disagree.
It depends on which family member. Of course, second cousins who you never see, for sure. But your immediate family...
I
your
that energy with everybody. If someone's toxic in your life, it doesn't matter who it is. They're toxic in your life. No.
But guess what? They're still your family. That friend doesn't...
That connects you.
No. But that friend, that girlfriend or boyfriend, they're not that to you anymore. They don't hold that title in your life anymore. Mm-hmm. Whether you could do all the works. You could remove yourself. But when you go to bed at night, you have to live with the fact that that person is a part of your family. They hold that title and you can never do anything about that. You could only control your actions. So
you can remove yourself.
Yeah.
That person will still have the title of...
Yeah. They're still your family.
Or grandma or mom or whatever, but that's just the title. Like, there's so many people whose families, neglect them and shit like that, and they find their own family. You know what I mean? That there's no blood relation, but like your own family can still be toxic. And I think for me personally, obviously this doesn't apply to everybody. For me personally,
yes,
I don't care who you are. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are.
That's good.
If you're toxic, I don't care if you're my mama. My mom's not toxic in that way, though. But, like, I don't care if you're my mama, my sister, my cousin, my aunt, my uncle, my cousin's dog. If you're toxic, like,
The cousin's dog is wild.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
I'm with
I don't
you.
care. I'm going to remove you from your life. And it's crazy how we keep that energy with, people that we've actually chosen to be in our lives, but people that we're forced to have in our lives, we just accept them for all of their crap. So it's just interesting perspective-wise, the way people look at certain things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm with you. I look at the...
I'm not saying people should cut off their families. People are going to hate me by the end of this podcast.
I hate you. I'm joking. No, this is great.
I'm not saying you should cut off your families. I'm just saying toxic is toxic no matter what form they come to you in, is all I'm saying.
I agree with you, but there are some things you cannot control, is the point that I'm trying to make. Yeah, I can't control who my family members are. They still hold that title. They're a part of the kingdom. And not every member in this kingdom is... on the same level. Every person's a person, like they have their own personality, their own perspective on things. So
never forget, Mufasa, is that his name? Killed what's his face through with the king lion off the cliff.
No, Scar killed Mufasa. Scar, yeah.
Scar dogs Mufasa. Never forget that. You know what I mean? That's all I'll be saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but no, I'm with you. But they were still family, and they couldn't escape that. They couldn't escape the fact. I think it ran even deeper because it was family. Like that. Like Simba is Scar's nephew. Isn't that crazy? Like this is an uncle. We're watching a brother, uncle, nephew war on.
Those titles. That's what got him killed. Those titles. That's still my brother. Like, no, your brother is trying to kill your son, and you're still including him in your kingdom. Okay, no, we should stop talking about this because people are going to be like, this girl. I don't know.
This is good. This is good.
But
Disney.
That's just how I feel about the situation.
Back when Disney, that's when Disney was deep, man. That's when Disney was deep.
I know,
all those
Disney
movies.
Was deep.
Aladdin.
I don't watch cartoons anymore.
What are your top three? Like for me, I have the trifecta. It's Aladdin, Mulan, and Lion King. That's the trifecta for me. What's your trifecta with Disney when it comes to Disney movies? What's your three? What's your three that you know?
I mean, as an adult, I don't really like any of them. As a kid, I really loved. I didn't really love Disney movies as a kid. Actually, I liked Beauty and the Beast. That was basically it. I wasn't really a Disney movie person. I liked Land Before Time.
It wasn't Disney. Wasn't Disney. I think All Dogs Go to Heaven was Disney. I'd have to look that up.
Yeah, I wasn't like a Disney really kid. Like, I watched them, but they're not like, I won't ever rewatch them for sure.
Okay. Yeah, those three movies are like the ones that like a lot of life lessons in those ones from what I can remember. Disney movies now, I don't know. Like Frozen, I've never watched a Frozen.
I heard Frozen has life lessons. So.
Yeah? For who though?
It's I don't know. That's what I've heard from like adults, that like they leave the theater crying and they like, you know, it teaches you about life and all kind of stuff. I'm not watching any type of Disney movie right now, so
okay, if there was anything you wanted to share with the club, you know, the listeners out there, like a message of the day kind of thing, what would that message be?
Oh, wow. Put me on the spot. Literally just never stop trying to understand yourself. Like, never stop trying to figure yourself out. Not so that you can define yourself to other people, but so you can know how you work and you can know what makes you tick and you can love yourself. The only way you can fully love yourself is if you like stand in front of the mirror and naked, look at yourself, point out all the things you hate about yourself, all the things you love about yourself, decide you can't change them, and then just like love yourself from there. Unless you're vulnerable with yourself first and strip down all those filters for yourself first, you're never, ever, ever going to be able to do that in front of someone else.
That's dope. That's a good way to end the show for sure. A little message from me, ladies and gentlemen. Don't wait for anybody to... just don't wait for someone else to push you. Be your own battery pack. Give yourself that pat on the back. Look at yourself in the mirror. And just remind yourself of who you are. And push yourself to that next level. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to, you know, shed some skin. Put your walls down. And try something new. Push yourself to that next level. And don't wait for someone else to come along and do it for you. Or to try to inspire you or motivate you. You already know what you want. So push yourself for those things. Kailia, I want to just send a special shout out to you and let you know I appreciate you being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It was actually so much fun. I was very nervous, or not even nervous, very like hesitant, but I'm glad that I did it.
We're definitely splitting this episode into two because we're at, let's see.
I would not mind.
Jesus Christ. We're at 1 hour and 42 minutes. That's crazy. That's crazy. I didn't think it would go this long, but that's good. That's good. No, thank you. Thank you for being on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, you've been listening to the Who and How Club. It's your boy, Eris Dejan. You are the Who and How. I am the Who and How, and we are the Who and How Club. We are the Who's and Hows of the world. And without you and without me, there is no us. There is no we. So let's continue to stay positive in this turmoil, in this negative time, and just protect yourselves. Be safe out there. Hopefully you guys will enjoy this episode with Kailia, and I'm going to split it up into 2 episodes. Kailia, if you don't mind, I was hoping we could end this episode with just a moment of silence. You know, you shared a lot about your father on this episode, and as we mentioned, you know, there are a lot of deaths and stuff happening because of this virus. So if you'd like to join me in a little moment of silence before we end, and that's it.
Yeah, sure.
You cool?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a little moment of silence for everybody out there losing their lives through this. You know, if you've lost anybody in your life, take this moment with us and, you know, just give them that respect and just know that they are in a better place. And, we honor them.